Hello class, in today's lesson we are going to talk about overriding methods when we are talking about inheritance in Java. Let's take a look. So we're going to use the same classes that we were working with in our last lesson, and we're going to talk about our toString method here. So in our toString method, our first vehicle class takes toString and it prints out and returns, we would use this in the print line statement, it returns a formatted string with the number of maximum passengers. In our car class, we also have a toString method, and there's several things going on here. So our toString method here has the exact same header. So in overriding, we must have the same header. And this overrides the parent class method. So recall from our last lesson that if a child class does not have a method, Java will look to the parent class for that method and will call the method in the parent class. Well, what if they have exactly the same method signature in the header? In this case, public string toString is exactly the same header that we had in our parent class. So Java will call the one from the child class if we're using that child object. So if we're using a car object, Java will call this one from the car class. Now I have a couple other things going on in here. The other thing is that I am calling the super toString. So I am forcing Java to look to the toString method from the parent class to add it in. And I'm adding in and formatting this new information for my car class. And toString is a wonderful example of where overriding comes in all the time. And we've actually already been doing it by writing our toString methods. And we can do the same thing again in our sports car class. In our sports car class, we are once again overriding the car class. I've written this as though it's static. Of course, it's not. But we have overridden our toString method here so that it calls, if we are working with a sports car object, it is going to call this sports car toString in order to print out the information. And if you look at the repl.it linked down below, again, you will see that in the print line statements on the main class that we are calling the same method. We're calling the same toString on each one of those different objects, and we're getting different outputs because of our overriding. The super allows us to back up that overriding and to call the parent toString or the parent method from within our wonderful object here. Now let's talk really quick about this overriding. And I said we've already been doing this before. There is a special thing in Java called object. Now we've talked about objects, right? But there's this thing that's the object class. And every single object inherits from object class. Everything inherits from object class. So even though you don't have to write extends object when you write a basic class definition, Java will automatically do that for you. And if you recall our hierarchy, right, that we have a vehicle and our car, right, and the sports car down below, vehicle actually automatically extends object. An object has some fields and methods, and one of those methods is the toString. This is why you can print an object, and remember what it prints when we automatically do it? The toString automatically prints the memory location. We also have another one that is the equals method. The equals method checks if they're the same location in memory, but we can override that equals method by writing our own equals method within the class definition. So those are just a couple. There's a few more methods that object includes, but those are the ones that we care about. ToString and equals. Vehicle gets it from object, and car will get the same thing from vehicle. Every single object gets their initial methods from object. Every single object inherits from the object class. And that toString, we have actually already been doing overriding already. Because we write toString in this particular format, every single time of saying public string toString, we are overriding the object class. So way back here, way up in vehicle, this toString, this overrides object. Okay, so that is the basics of overriding methods in Java. We're going to use it in a few different places. One thing to remember that we don't want to get confused on is our friend from a few chapters ago, which is overloading. So overloading. Remember that overloading is within the same class. Overriding is from inherited classes. Inherited classes. Both over, right, are dealing with methods of the same name. So overriding is from overriding the inherited methods, and overloading is creating extra methods with the same name within the same class. All right, that is all for this lesson. I'll see you in the next one with ISA and HASA relationships.